right, most everyone will admit relationships are hard work, and some, unfortunately, don't last forever, and that's mainly because of mistakes that couples make. Joining us now is Dr. Greg Cason, a psychologist all the way from Los Angeles. Dr. Greg is what I like to call him. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Was your drive nice?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Okay, you were safe?
Especially in the valley.
Oh, good. You like Fresno?
I love it.
All right. He says a little bit allergy problems, but that's all right. Other than that, we're good to go.
I have them everywhere.
Let's talk about relationships.
Okay. Yeah.
What is it, doctor, that makes relationships so difficult?
You know, relationships are you're trying to solve a problem, if you really want to look at it that way. And if we can just get together with somebody, I think that will probably solve the problem. But the problem is we can never really get together with somebody because we're always meeting with these particular barriers, and that's what I want to talk about today, are these very common barriers that almost everybody runs into.
Okay, so are these mistakes that individuals are making or mistakes that couples are making together?
Their couples make them together, but an individual is actually doing the mistake. So an individual is the one who can fix the mistake.
All right, so let's get to the first one, which is criticize and blame.
Criticize and blame. Almost everyone does this. This is when you make an always or never statement about your partner. This is saying something like, you never take out the trash, or you always say this or that bad thing about my boss. This is not a good thing to do. Really, this is characterizing the whole person as if they are your criticism. In fact, a good thing to do to really help somebody is to say, hey, I have a complaint about you, so honey, I'd like you to take out the trash. Honey, you didn't take out the trash tonight. Can we talk about that? That would be a much better thing to do than to say you never take out the trash.
So it's all in the way you ask someone to do something?
It is in the way you asked, because people often will not think that saying a single thing is going to have enough power. But actually, when you say something like an overall criticism, what it does is it pushes the other person away and takes us to the second point. It makes them defensive.
Okay, so that's a second mistake people make. They get defensive.
They get defensive. They put their shield up. Because if you have something, if I said to you, you never do the dishes, then all of a sudden you're going to say, wait a minute, I did the dishes last Thursday.
Yeah, or, yes, I do. I do this and I do that. Yeah.
And you might even go into the most common defensive technique to say, yes, but. Yes, I may not do the dishes most of the time, but
I make the bed every day.
Exactly. And the but is really the problem, because we want to take out people's buts, if you will, from the relationships, and we want to leave in just the yes. If you really want to get some movement there, this is the time to say, look, I did something, you're right, I don't do the dishes on a regular basis, and maybe that's something we can work on, or maybe we can do that together, and that will stop the person dead in their tracks.
Yeah, I can see how they would do. Yeah, I can see how you can't really argue with that. Okay, the third one is check out. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is actually a common one that a lot of men do, and this is the one bad thing to do. This is to say, it's what's called stonewalling. This is maybe reading the paper while the other person is talking, ignoring what the other person is saying to you, or even being there just in body but not in mind. This is watching the TV and going, but not hearing a thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that actually causes emotional upheaval in the other person, because they're not being heard. So what they do is they get stronger and stronger with their language and even get more and more emotional, and the person checking out is saying, I'm not doing anything, I'm just sitting here watching TV or reading the newspaper. This is a terrible thing to do. Face the music. Turn around to the person and say, okay, it really bugs me what we're talking about right now. Say something, talk to them, meet them eye to eye, but don't check out.
Okay, communicate. Good point,
Yes.
good point. Number 4, another mistake is to get on your high horse.
This is the worst one of all. This is psychological and emotional abuse, and this is one that some couples actually find themselves in. This is when they actually try to humiliate or shame or blame the other person in a big way, and this is actually saying something like, or correcting their grammar in public, or saying something negative about them to friends, or making fun of them in public. This is one of the worst things you can do, and this is a relationship killer. This is the killer of all killers. And this is the thing where you've got to get off your horse and meet your partner eye to eye. And this is something to say, I realize I've done this in the past. I'm sorry. And then also to catch the person doing something right, say, hey, I realize you do these good things and I haven't been fair. And number 3 is to give it time, because if you're finding yourself in that position, you've already done a lot of damage to the relationship, so you've got to give the relationship some time to repair.
Okay, so if you have been criticizing in that matter, or I don't want to say making fun of, but go back and just say you're sorry and start over?
Take the walk of shame.
Ooh.
Take the walk of shame.
What will that do to a person?
To which person? You mean the other person?
Yeah, what will that do to a person if you are intimidating that person in that way?
They have really two particular outcomes. They're either going to feel worse and like a little person and say yes, 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 but they'll feel so badly about themselves they'll lose their identity, and eventually someone will wake them up and they'll find their power again and leave the relationship. Or they'll do the opposite, which is to get their power in the moment. And a lot of people who are in abusive relationships find themselves in this cycle because, say, maybe if you were saying something very negative to me and actually correcting my grammar in public, I may get very angry and then do something very bad like have a physical attack. So we find this in very abusive relationships. And then the person who did the physical attack, because they felt so humiliated, will think they're justified, and the other person will think that they were justified in their humiliation.
Sometimes it seems like a never-ending battle.
It's a never-ending battle, and all couples have to look out for all four of these things. The first three are the most common. The last one, if you're finding yourself doing it, it's time to take the walk of shame. Like I said, get into couples therapy and start to look at yourself.
What great advice. Doctor, thank you so much. Give us a website and a number where people can get hold of you. I know we have it up on the screen. It's an 877 number, right?
877-437-4734. Or you can go to my website, which is drgreg.com.
Oh, it's just drgreg.com?
Yeah,
It's not
that
Dr.
easy.
Greg Cason?
I have both.
Oh, okay, you have both. Okay, so there you go.
Is that easy or what?
drgregcason.com or drgreg.com.
Yes.
I love it. I love all your information. I could sit here and talk for hours to Dr. Greg. Dr. Greg. Hey, listen, thank you so much for driving all the way up from L.A. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
All
Good
right.
to be here.
Coming up next on Central Valley Today, 2/3 of the scams on the elderly are from family members. That's right. Tom Weil is here to help us keep our eyes open for scammers preying on the elderly. How not to become a victim. That's coming right up with our main man, Tom.